Hey y'all, my name is Michaela and I work at the best place in Shreveport, that's Sci-Port Discovery Center, and I am so excited to make a foam glider with you today. Are you ready to get started? Let's go! All right, so once you open up your kit, you have all of this fun stuff. We have a little guide that will tell you everything you need to know. We have this template, we have a foam plate, a penny, and you're going to need just a couple of other things. You're going to need some Scotch tape, some scissors, and a pen. Okay, well, let's get started. All right, so see, this is my glider template all cut out. You can notice here, I cut out these little notches here and here. This is important and you'll see why later on. I also cut out this little tiny triangle right here. See? All right, are we ready for the next step? Let's go. So we are going to cut out this foam plate, but we need to make sure our template is put on there correctly. Now, notice that my tail is completely flat. Now this is going to curve up and so are these. That's okay, that's what we want, but we want this tail nice and flat. So what I'm going to do to help is put just a few pieces of tape. I'm going to put one here, one here, one over here, and just for good measure, one right here. All right, now we need this. I told you this would come in handy. We are just going to trace around our template. And this watch is going to go right over the edge. That's okay, that's what we want. We're going to start on the other side and just trace around. And what I'm about to do is trace this. That's important too. You want to trace this little rectangle right here. And then you want to be sure to trace this little triangle right here. We're going to trace around the tail, another little rectangle because you can never have enough rectangles. And again, we're going to let our pen go right over the edge, all the way over the edge. And on the other side, starting at the edge, coming in. Be sure to get our little rectangle at the front, and we're all done. So the next thing we're going to do is cut it out. Now, we're just going to remove this template because that'll be a little easier for us. And you may notice we have a few gaps because that's where the tape was. That's okay. We'll just cut right through. Now, we're going to need these. All right. So when I like to cut out a rectangle, I'm going to cut on this side just past where the top line is, and same thing on this side, just past where the top line is. Now then I'm going to peel it up like so and make one snip right there. And I have a beautiful rectangle. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Cut just beyond that line, then cut just beyond this line, lift it up, and make a little snip. And I have a perfect little rectangle. Now with this triangle, I'm just going to cut along both sides, like so, and then I'm just going to rip it out. Okay, so you might notice something a little odd about my plane. It has this sticking up right here. I'll turn it this way so you can see. Do you see this sticking up? We want this flat. So all I'm going to do is pinch this with my fingers and rip it off. And now I have a nice flat plane. So there's one more thing that I want to talk about. Do you see these lines right here, here, and here? Now, on your plane, these are called the elevons. On the tail, they're called the rudder. And these will actually bend up, down, left, and right to control which way your plane flies. Now, I'm not going to make any of those cuts because I want to challenge you to do that. I want to see what your plane can do. Can you make it do a twirl, a loop, maybe a swerve left and right? We want to see. So, that being said, your plane obviously needs a tail. Do you see this triangle right here? This is going to point the way. You're just going to follow right along this triangle and cut out your tail. Very good. Now we have a tail and we have a plane. We're well on our way. All right, so remember we didn't cut along this dotted line before? Well, now we are. So I am going to trace where these lines would be, but I'm not going to cut them. So they're going to be about here and here. And same thing with these lines. Now I'm going to line this up with the template exactly. Then I'm just going to move it up a little bit just so I can make a little dash where these lines are supposed to be. And then make the actual lines. All right, pilots, are you ready to put this bird together? Let's go. So remember, a good scientist keeps their workplace clean. Let's clear out everything but what we need. Now we're going to need this penny and our tape again. So one of the first things we're going to do is put this penny right here. And if you lose track of where it needs to be, take a look at your guide. It says penny. That's what this thing is, in case you didn't know. And we're going to take this and fold it over the penny. And this is going to help hold it in place. But to give it a little extra help, we're going to take a few pieces of tape to tape it down nice and snug because you do not want your penny falling out mid-flight. Now, notice I taped across this way. Next, I'm going to tape across this way. Now, why do you think we need this penny? Do you think it might help it be lighter or maybe a little heavier? Do you think it might help it with direction? Something to think about. No, no plane is complete without a tail. So we're going to put ours in like so. You want the big side on the top, the small side on the bottom. And just to be sure that our tail stays in place, I'm going to put a few pieces of tape. One on this side, one on this side. Then we're going to flip it over and do the same thing. One on this side and one on this side.
Now, I think this looks pretty good. Do you think it's flight worthy? I don't know, but now comes the fun part. Let's take her for a spin.
All right, are you ready for the best part? Let's test this thing out. Ready? Can I get a countdown? 3, 2, 1. See how far it went? Isn't that so cool? Now remember, I didn't make any cuts for the elevons or the rudders because I leave that challenge to you. What can you make your plane do? We want to see. Have lots of fun, and thank you so much for spending this time with me to create a foam glider. See you soon.